Living alone in the vast, remote wilderness of Alaska was supposed to be my escape. I was chasing peace, the kind you only find in the endless white snow and a profound, calm silence. It was a chance to finally just be with my own thoughts. But one winter night, everything changed. That peaceful silence suddenly felt heavy. It felt charged, like something alive was out there in the dark, listening. The next morning, a gnawing unease pulled me outside. There, circling my cabin, were tracks. They were large, almost human-like, but not quite. The steps were too wide, the stride too long. This wasn't a bear or a moose. This was something else entirely. I spent the day on edge, my eyes constantly darting to the windows, the woods, the endless expanse of white. Each night that followed, the feeling grew stronger, more suffocating. It felt like a pair of unseen eyes were piercing through the frost-covered glass, watching my every move. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was filled with a palpable presence. I tried to rationalize a cabin fever, the isolation playing tricks on my mind. But the evidence in the snow every morning told a different story. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. The nights were a tense vigil, waiting for a sound that never came. The silence was the real monster. It was a constant, unnerving hum that vibrated through the very logs of my cabin. I'd find myself holding my breath, straining to hear anything. A snap of a twig, the crunch of snow, but there was only the sound of my own heart pounding in my ears. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. The not knowing was worse than any potential danger. Armed with a heavy flashlight and a deep breath, I decided to follow the tracks. They led me away from the relative safety of my cabin, deeper and deeper into the dense, snow-laden woods. The beam of my light cut through the falling snow, illuminating the strange, deliberate path. The tracks continued for what felt like miles, then led me into a small, secluded clearing. And that's where they stopped. Just stopped, abruptly, as if whatever had made them had simply vanished into thin air. I spun around, my light scanning the perimeter, my heart hammering against my ribs. There was nowhere to go, no other tracks leading away. It made no sense. That's when I saw it. Standing at the edge of the tree line, almost blending into the shadows, was a figure. It was impossibly tall and thin, a stark, dark silhouette against the white snow. It had no discernible features, except for what looked like two hollow, empty eyes that were fixed directly on me. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just watched. A primal fear, cold and sharp, through me. I didn't scream. I didn't even think. I just ran. I scrambled back the way I came, stumbling through the snow, not daring to look back. I burst through my cabin door, slammed it shut, and bolted it, my whole body shaking. I didn't sleep a wink that night, just stared at the door, waiting. By morning, a fresh blanket of snow had fallen, erasing all evidence. The tracks were gone. The clearing would be pristine again. But the silence is still here. It presses in on the cabin, heavy and watchful. It feels like it's waiting for me to step back outside. And I know deep down that the thing from the woods is waiting too. Thanks for sticking with me through this chilling story. If you enjoy Tailies from the edge of the map, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one. For months, I'd been dreaming of this solo camping trip. The goal was simple: escape. Escape the city, the noise, the people, just me, the trees, and the stars. The first night was exactly what I'd imagined. A bottle of red wine, a crackling campfire painting dancing shadows on the trees, and a blanket of stars. So thick it felt like I could reach out and touch them. It was perfect. It was peace. That peace shattered in the middle of the night. I woke up to a sound that didn't belong. It was a chant, distant and faint, like a whisper carried on the wind. At first, I tried to dismiss it. Maybe it was just the rustle of leaves or the creek nearby. But the sound grew. It became clearer, more rhythmic, a low hum of voices rising and falling in unison. It was getting louder. Closer, my heart started hammering against my ribs. I slowly unzipped my tent, just a crack. and peered out into the inky blackness between the trees. The moment my eyes scanned the darkness, the chanting stopped. Instantly. The sudden, absolute silence was more terrifying than the sound itself. It felt heavy, unnatural. The forest, which had felt so alive and welcoming just hours before, now felt like it was holding its breath. I zipped the tent shut, my hands trembling, and didn't sleep for the rest of the night, convinced every snap of a twig was a footstep. The next morning, with the sun filtering through the canopy, I almost convinced myself it had all been a bad dream. A stress-induced hallucination. I was just about to start packing up, eager to put some distance between me and this place, when I heard a soft, gentle knock. Not on a door, but on the driver's side window of my car. I froze. I was miles from any road, from any other campsite. Slowly, I turned my head. Standing there, just inches from the glass, was a tall figure cloaked in a dark, hooded robe. Their face was completely hidden in shadow. They didn't move, they didn't speak. They just stood there, a silent, imposing shape against the green of the forest. I don't even remember thinking. A scream tore from my throat, raw and panicked. The figure recoiled, as if startled by the sound, and then turned and sprinted back into the woods, vanishing among the trees with an unnerving speed. I didn't wait. I threw everything into my car, not even bothering to fold my tent. Adrenaline fueled every move. It wasn't until I was about to jump into the driver's seat that I saw them. Footprints. Deep, clear impressions in the soft earth right beside my tent. They hadn't come from the direction of the trail. They led straight out of the dense woods, directly to where my head had been resting just hours earlier, and then over to my car. As I sped away, gravel kicking up behind me, I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see that hooded figure standing in the middle of the dirt track. The forest no longer felt like a sanctuary. The peace I had so desperately craved was gone, replaced by a chilling certainty. It didn't feel alive anymore. It felt like it was watching. And I knew, with a cold dread that settled deep in my bones, that I had stumbled into a place I was never meant to be. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It really helps me create more stories for you all. Stay safe out there. Have you ever craved absolute silence? A place so remote, so untouched, that the only sound is your own breath? That's what I was chasing. I found it, or so I thought, in a small cabin deep in the Alaskan wilderness. For 1 week, it was supposed to be just me, the endless blanket of snow, and the profound quiet I'd been dreaming of. The first couple of days were exactly that, pure bliss. I'd wake up to the sight of snow-laden pines, the air so crisp it felt like a reset for my soul. I'd read by the fire, watch the snowflakes drift down, and feel the city stress melt away. The silence was a comforting friend, wrapping around me like a warm blanket. But then, something started to shift. It was subtle at first. The silence, my old friend, began to feel different. It wasn't empty anymore. It felt heavy, weighted, like the stillness of the air just before a storm breaks. It was as if something was being held back, a sound or a presence suppressed just beneath the surface of the quiet. I tried to shake it off, telling myself it was just my city-worn nerves playing tricks on me in this profound isolation. I was wrong. The change came with the dawn. As I looked out the window sipping my morning coffee, I saw them. Footprints. Faint, almost swallowed by the fresh overnight snow, but definitely there. They weren't animal tracks, and they certainly weren't mine. They led from the dense tree line, approached the cabin, circled it once, and then vanished back into the woods. A cold dread, colder than the Alaskan air, began to creep into my veins. Who else was out here? That night, sleep wouldn't come. I lay in the dark, every nerve on high alert. And then I heard it, a sound that didn't belong. A slow, rhythmic thumping against the exterior wall of the cabin. Thump, thump, thump. It was steady, methodical, like a colossal, deliberate heartbeat. It wasn't the wind or a branch or any animal I knew. It felt intentional. It felt close. My heart was pounding in my chest, a frantic counter rhythm to the sound outside. Fear and a terrifying curiosity warred within me. I had to know. My hand trembled as I reached for the curtain on the small window next to my bed. Slowly, inch by inch, I pulled the fabric aside, peering into the moonlit snowscape. And that's when I saw it. A figure, tall, impossibly tall and slender, standing just at the edge of the clearing. It was completely still, a dark silhouette against the shimmering snow, bathed in the pale light of the moon. It was motionless, and it was facing my window, facing me. We were locked in this silent, terrifying standoff. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. My mind screamed, but no sound came out. I squeezed my eyes shut for just a second, a desperate, childish hope that it would make the nightmare disappear. When I opened them again, it was gone. The space under the moonlight was empty. The thumping had stopped. But the silence that returned was worse than the noise. It was charged, buzzing with the afterimage of what I'd seen. There was no peace left in this place. I didn't sleep. I sat with my back against the door, a fire poker in my hand, till the first hint of gray lightened the sky. I didn't even pack properly. I just threw everything into my bag, my hand shaking so badly I could barely zip it shut. I didn't look back at the cabin. As I drove away, the wilderness that had once seemed so majestic and beautiful now felt menacing, sentient. It felt aware. The beauty was just a mask, hiding something ancient and patient. I had the chilling certainty that I hadn't escaped anything. I had just been let go. And that something out there in the cabin beyond the trees was simply waiting for the next person to arrive, seeking silence. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any similar unsettling stories, I'd love to read them in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more strange tales. Stay safe out there.